Good evening and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well on this Monday evening. We're back with another massive show to bring you guys tonight. But before we jump into that, please smash a like on the video. Let's try and see 200 likes on today's video. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right-hand corner. So on the show tonight, we are going to be discussing Lisandro Martinez's injury with the club, Manchester United, putting out an official statement with all of the details. So we'll be reading that out for you, of course, reacting to that, discussing how much of an impact that will have on the rest of the season. We'll also be talking about a story about potential new contract for Eriksen and whether Ineos are going to keep him in the summer or not. Also, some other little bits on the up-and-coming games, a little bit on the game yesterday, lots of other smaller bits to get into. And as always, guys, I invite you to have your say. Get involved in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. And the question that I've got for you guys today is, how big of an issue is Lisandro Martinez's injury? How big of a problem is that going to be for Manchester United's season? Get in the comment section below and let me know. So, as I said, Manchester United have put out an official statement in the last couple of minutes. I will read it out for you word for word, and then obviously we can react to it as a community. So this is coming out on the official Manchester United website. It says Martinez injury confirmed. It says Lisandro Martinez has sustained an injury to the medial collateral ligament in his knee and is expected to be out of action for a minimum of 8 weeks. It says the Argentinian defender left the field in the 71st minute of our 3-0 victory over West Ham on Sunday. We wish Martinez a speedy recovery and look forward to seeing him back on the pitch later in the season. So 8 weeks minimum for Lisandro Martinez to come back. And that's like 8 weeks until he could be maybe a little bit match fit. So, I mean, 8 weeks from today, let's do a little bit of quick maths. 8 weeks from today would be around the beginning of April. So let's have a quick look at the fixtures. So, off the top of my head, I've got the fixtures up here, okay? He's going to miss, I'll do a little count in my hand just so people can see. He's going to miss the Aston Villa game, Luton game, Fulham game, FA Cup game, Man City game, Everton game, Sheffield United game, Brentford game, Chelsea game. Best case scenario, he might be back in time for the Liverpool game at Old Trafford, which is on the 6th of April. So he's going to miss about another 9 or 10 games. And that's best case scenario. It could be worse than that. But based off what the club have said today, Lisandro Martinez will be out for a minimum of 9 or 10 games. Minimum. And it could be more than that. Please also bear in mind he's already missed 22 games this season through injury, just in this season alone, from September till January, and he missed 12 games last season. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, Lisandro Martinez is probably one of my favourite players at United. I think he was an incredible signing, but when you look at that now, right, by the time it gets to the summer and he'll have been here for 2 years, he's going to have missed about 40 to 50 games. He's missed 34 games already for injury, and he's going to be out for at least another 10 games now. So by the summer, he's going to be on about 44 games, and that's if he doesn't get injured again. Over the space of 2 seasons, like, that is crazy. If you think there's 38 games in the Premier League, obviously Europa, all the rest of it. I think last season we played about 60 games. This season we'll probably play, I reckon, around about 50 games or something. So he's probably going to have missed nearly half of our games over the 2 years that he's been here. And I mean, it's absolutely devastating because it makes you wonder, right? What would Manchester United be like if we could keep him fit the whole time? Imagine if Man City lost their best centre-back. Imagine if Arsenal lost Saliba or Gabriel. They would crumble. I mean, it happened to Arsenal last season. They lost Gabriel and then they completely flopped it and bottled the league. So it's so frustrating. It's really, really disappointing. I love Martinez. I really, really do. And the thing we have to listen to here, though, right, is that it could have been an ACL injury. That was also being talked about this morning, that people were saying, it might be his ACL. If it's an ACL, it's 6-7 months. So in some ways, this news is positive. I know it's hard to take at the moment because I'm telling you that he's going to be out for 10 games minimum, but it could have been a lot worse. If it was an ACL, he'd probably be out for 6 or 7 months, and we'd be lucky probably to see him again this year. Whereas, as in this calendar year. So yeah, it's really, really upsetting, guys, but I don't know. I don't know what to say. And the question I have for you is, how big of a loss is Lisandro Martinez for Man United? Let me know in the comment section. The thing is, right, Maguire isn't a bad centre-back. He's not good enough to play for Man United, but he's not bad. It's just his presence on the ball. I think he makes the other players feel nervous. He's just a different player. Martinez and Maguire are two completely different players, you know? It's not like It's not like they're both the same style of centre back and one's rubbish and one's good. They're the complete polar opposite. Martinez is progressive. He pushes higher up the pitch. He's playing balls over the top to the strikers. He's aggressive. But he does it in a way where he doesn't give away fouls. Whereas like Maguire isn't like that. Maguire is good at other things that Martinez clearly isn't, like heading the ball, and he's more physical in the box because he's obviously bigger and he's stronger and all the rest of it. But I don't know. I think if we were still in if we were still in the Champions League, still in the League Cup, and we were playing like 2 or 3 games a week, I would say this would be a massive, massive issue for Man United. But the fact that we're most likely going to be only playing 1 game a week now for the rest of the season, or we are only playing 1 game a week, I think we can probably cope, to be honest. I think we can still achieve our targets using Maguire and Varane. I think Maguire, in all fairness to him, I think he played quite well against West Ham yesterday. I think in the first half, he was really, really good. I know he made one little mistake where they nearly scored, but I think overall, Maguire had a good game yesterday. Now, I'm not by any means sat here saying Maguire is better than Martinez. He isn't. Martinez is levels above Maguire, but I think Maguire has done quite well this season. And if we can have Maguire and Varane every single game for the rest of the season, I still think that's good enough to push on to get fifth or sixth or fourth this season. To be honest, like I don't think we can use Martinez getting an injury as an excuse not to continue with this momentum. Casemiro's back, Luke Shaw's back. Obviously, Rasmus Højlund, Garnacho, and Rashford have started to click. Mainoo's playing incredibly. Like Martinez is a really important player, but we still have lots of other good players in our team. And I think, as disappointing as it is for me, because I love Martinez, I'm not going to use this as an excuse personally. If next week, Højlund gets injured, Casemiro gets injured, Garnacho gets injured, Mainoo gets injured, then obviously our season's over. But it is at this point only one player. We only have 1 game a week. We do have plenty of cover in that position. You've obviously got Lindelof as well. You've got Evans. You've got Willy Campoala. You've got Luke Shaw who can play there. All of these people are fit and available. Obviously, Johnny Evans as well. Like, we do have lots of options. Yes, Martinez is our best centre-back alongside Varane, but we are where we are. And that's the headline. He will miss 10 games minimum. And let me know in the comment section, guys, how much of a loss is Lisandro Martinez? Irvin says, to be fair, Kieran, Martinez's injury was bad luck. We just have to survive without him till the end of the season. It is bad luck, but I'm not trying to start some hate against Martinez. I've just said he's my favourite player. But for him to have already missed 22 games this season and now to be missing another minimum of 10 in one season, and also to have missed 12 last season, like, that is unusual. He's 26. He's not old. And I spoke about this on the show this morning, and it's interesting to get your thoughts. But do you maybe think that Martinez's style, his aggression, maybe is part of why he keeps getting these injuries? I don't know the answer to this question. It was just something I thought about when I was watching the game yesterday. Like, he flies into tackles, like, and all the rest of it, which I love. I love that about him. But does that mean that he's more susceptible to injury? Like, it is a possibility, isn't it? Of course it is. Like, if you look at it in an everyday kind of analogy, somebody who stays in their house all the time, I mean, this is maybe a stupid example, but somebody who stays in their house all the time is less likely to, I don't know, slip and fall outside and injure themselves or something. You know what I mean? Like, I can't really get my words out here. Ginge says they are impact injuries, nothing to do with being injury prone. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not saying he's injury prone by any means whatsoever. The point I'm trying to make here is, does he keep picking up these injuries because of his play style? That's the question. That's the thing that I'm unsure about. Lumen says, Kieran, maybe you didn't see Maguire's latest blunder yesterday. The thing is, right, I think for most of that game, Maguire was one of the best players on the pitch. He makes one mistake and then everyone's, out to get him. I think it's unfair. I think Maguire was very good. Players make mistakes. Every single player in that team yesterday would have made a mistake, misplaced a pass, shot when they should have passed. Like, players make mistakes. They're human beings. No player is ever going to have an 100% game. And we've got to get behind people like Maguire. Lumen says, Kieran, Martinez does unnecessary aggressive tackles. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Andrew says, have you got any info on the Bruno offer? I mean, if you're talking about this Bruno Saudi Arabia offer, I don't think there's much truth in that personally. I think it's probably, I don't know what this is. There's some breaking news here. This is probably just clickbait. So I'm gonna check what this story is before I click on it, because it's always usually clickbait. Okay, there is some breaking news coming in. Breaking news in the last couple of seconds. Really, really big bit of story here. So apparently, Christian Eriksen is on the brink of leaving Manchester United. This is coming in from multiple different sources. This has completely caught me by surprise. But Galatasaray, obviously in the Turkish league, their transfer window ends on Friday. And the story coming out of this is literally coming from like 5 or 6 different journalists, Turkish ones, English ones, saying that apparently Galatasaray are now trying to sign Christian Eriksen before their transfer deadline closes on Friday. It says Christian Eriksen could join Galatasaray. It says it will be a loan with an obligation to buy in the summer. What does everybody think about that? I forgot that some of the transfer windows are still open. I'm going to get a poll going really, really quickly. Everybody who's watching, please smash a like on the video. Let's try and hit 200 likes. If everybody who's watching right now likes, we will hit 200 likes. And I'm going to ask you guys, would you sell Eriksen to... I might have spelled Galatasaray wrong. So for anybody who's just tuning in and are wondering what the poll's about, there's breaking news that's just dropped saying that apparently Galatasaray are on the brink of signing Christian Eriksen from Manchester United it's a loan until the summer with an obligation to buy. I would sell him personally, guys. I think, you've got Mason Mount who's going to be back soon. You've got Scott McTominay, whether you like him or not, he plays. You've got Kobe Mainoo, you've got Casemiro, you've got Bruno, you've got Amrabat. You've got 6 or 7 players to occupy 2 midfield positions. For me personally, Christian Eriksen is way past his best. He's 31. He's literally 32 next week. I think he's way past his best. I think he can just about manage half a game of football in the Premier League without looking, out of energy. For me, if there's a genuine offer from Galatasaray, they're going to take him until the summer. They're going to cover his wages and then give us a fee in the summer. I would sell him 100%. He's only got a year left of his contract. Man United obviously won't extend it past then. For whatever reason, Erik ten Hag doesn't really seem to play him much, which doesn't really surprise me. When you've got, Amrabat, McTominay, like all of these people who are in front of him, he has to go, doesn't he? Like it's not a hate campaign against Christian Eriksen. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Irvin says, thank you, Eriksen, for your service. Good luck for the future. Justin says, something within the club's system is wrong in terms of how players are recovering from injuries, recovering from hard gym sessions or workouts. How many players have been injured? It's quite strange. Martinez is a big loss. Jin says, if Mason Mount is back soon, then yes, let Eriksen go. His legs have gone. He's too slow for the Premier League. Yeah, mate, I agree. I think, as much as I liked Christian Eriksen, I think he has to go. I think he does, personally. Like, as somebody just said in the chat, he's on ridiculous wages. He's on crazy wages. I think he has to go, personally. Let's have a quick look at what his wages are, just out of interest. I know I've looked before, and I thought it was a bit much for somebody who... Let's have a look. He's on 150 grand a week, Christian Eriksen. I get rid of him 100%. As I said, he's 32 next week. He can barely play half a game of football without looking, off the ball. I don't think he can compete in that midfield anymore. We've got Kobe Mainoo, who is, in my opinion, now levels above him. Obviously, Christian Eriksen has been an incredible player over the last kind of 10 or so years. So I'm not by any means saying that Kobe Mainoo's as good as what Christian Eriksen was at his prime yet. But at this moment in time, if somebody said to me, you can have Christian Eriksen or Kobe Mainoo starting in that midfield, I pick Kobe Mainoo every single game without a shadow of a doubt. There's not even a blink of hesitation in my eye. And I genuinely would be upset if I saw Christian Eriksen starting ahead of Mainoo. I'd be like, what the hell is Ten Hag doing? So I think this is the correct decision, and I think this is us being ruthless. This is the kind of thing that Omar Barada, the new CEO, will be looking at. He'll be saying, right, we've got Christian Eriksen. He's been here for 2 or 3 years. He's been injured a lot. He had a bad injury last season. He can barely play much football anymore. He's on crazy wages. There's no, resale value in him because his contract's up. He has to go. But yeah, get involved in the poll, guys. And if you're watching this back on repeat, let me know whether you think Eriksen should leave or not. I would say yes, 100%. Let's see if there's any more news on this story, because as I said, it has literally just broken the last couple of minutes. This is breaking news. You know what, guys? I completely forgot that the transfer window was still open in some other countries. I honestly, I would endorse this deal 100%. I know I keep saying that. There's lots of people on Twitter saying that, this is going to happen. Yeah, I'm happy about this. I'm happy. I think it's the right decision, and I think it's showing a bit more ruthlessness that we haven't seen in the last kind of 2 or 3 years. But let me know what you guys think. Let's see. Jin says no. Of course, he's a top professional, but we are not a charity. A big club moves on players and thinks forward, not with sentimentality. I agree, mate. Chris says Saudi clubs can try to buy whoever they want. If it's a contracted player like Bruno, who's on a new deal, the player has to agree to go. Players hold the cards. Yeah, I don't think Bruno's going anywhere, mate, to be honest with you. I think Bruno will be here for the next season or two. And Man United will probably look to move him on in the next couple of years. But I don't know where the story about Bruno Fernandes has come. Here it is. So it's coming out from the Mail. They say Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal are set to renew their interest in Bruno Fernandes in the summer after failing to sign him in the January window. So for anybody who missed that, apparently there was a bid rejected from a club in Saudi. But none of the proper journalists picked up on this. You know, there wasn't a Fabrizio Romano or a David Ornstein or a Laurie Whitwell. So I kind of just writ it off as speculation, as media spin. Do I think that the Saudi clubs would be interested in Bruno Fernandes? Of course they would. He's a massive player. He is a world-class player. I know he frustrates people, but yeah, I mean, he's going to be 30 years old this year, Bruno. He's another one, right, where I would keep him for the time being, but if a big bid came in for him in the summer, we're talking like 100 million, you'd have to accept it, wouldn't you? You would have to. You'd have to say, thank you, Bruno. You've been here for 4 years. You've been our best player for the last 4 years. You know, you've been put up these incredible stats. But if a club was to come in with serious money for Bruno Fernandes in the summer, Man United would have to look at it. But I still don't think they would, personally. And I'd be surprised if Bruno Fernandes agreed to move to Saudi. Right, let's get a poll going on Bruno Fernandes quickly though. So, 81% of you would sell Eriksen to Galatasaray. So that's interesting, and I agree with you lot. I definitely would sell him. We've got over 200 people watching the show now, which is incredible. Everybody smash a like quickly. Let's try and hit 200 likes on today's video. It doesn't cost any money. And subscribe, bottom right-hand corner if you're new. We're live every day at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. UK time. So do get involved and subscribe. Let's have a look. Would you sell Bruno to Saudi clubs in the summer if a big bid came in? Let's say 60 to 100 million. Simple question again, guys. Anybody watching this back on repeat, you can get involved in the comment section. If you're watching it live, get involved in the poll. The question is, would you sell Bruno Fernandes to Saudi clubs in the summer if a big bid came in? And what I mean by a big bid is somewhere between 60 and 100 million, you know? Somewhere where we're 100% recouping all of the 65 million euros that we spent on him. I don't know, guys. It's difficult for me. It really is difficult because I like Bruno Fernandes. I think he's a good player. Does he frustrate me? Yes. Do I think he gives the ball away too much? Yes. Do I think he suits Erik ten Hag's system? I don't think he does, personally. I really don't. I think, you know, Erik ten Hag wanted Frankie de Jong. I know they play in different positions, but even Mason Mount at Chelsea used to reclaim the ball and hold the ball and retain the ball much better than Bruno Fernandes does. Bruno Fernandes gives the ball away a lot. As much chances as he created, as much assists as he creates, he does give the ball away a lot. And I don't think that suits Erik ten Hag's system. So, in short, if a Saudi Arabia came in with an 100 million euro bid or 100 million pound bid, I think Manchester United would have to look at it personally, but I still don't think he'd go. I don't think Bruno Fernandes would want to go to Saudi. Like, he hasn't really achieved that much if you actually think about it in the grand scheme of things. He's not a Cristiano Ronaldo. He's not a Benzema who've won it all. Like, if you actually look at if you look at Bruno Fernandes's trophy cabinet, I'm going to be honest, guys, it's pretty bare. He's won the League Cup for Man United. He won the league with Sporting Lisbon twice. He won the Portuguese Cup once, and he won the Nations League with Portugal once. That's it. Like, for somebody at the age of 30 now, or coming up to 30, he hasn't really won much, being completely honest. And him moving to Saudi, like, that's the end of his career then, effectively, isn't it? I don't know. I just think that he seems like the type of person where he's living comfortably in Manchester. He's earning good money, and I think that he does, you know, have aspirations to actually be successful. But then, arguably, is that going to happen at Manchester United? Probably not. So maybe he has that hard decision where he says, like, at the end of the season, we might have no European football. we might be in a rebuild where we're probably not even going to win anything next season. And he's there thinking, I could move to Saudi, probably earn £1 million a week, and maybe even win some trophies in Saudi. I mean, being completely honest, right? If your primary goal is to win trophies, okay, obviously playing for Manchester United is a bigger privilege than playing in the Saudi league. Let's be very, very clear. But, you know, if you were to move to one of those clubs in Saudi Arabia where you're going to win the Saudi league, you're going to compete in the Club World Cup thing, maybe that's better for some people. Maybe, you know, I don't know. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Like, I don't know. If I was obviously Bruno, I wouldn't want to go there. But, like, who knows? Alan says, why should we sell Bruno? I'm not really sure, mate. I'm not really sure what you mean. Why should we sell Bruno? I mean, Man United haven't agreed to sell Bruno. The story is that Al Hilal had a bid rejected for Bruno in the January window, and now Al Hilal are going to come back in the summer. That's the story. And the question to you is, would you sell him for a big amount of money? It's, you know, that's the question. I'm not saying that I want Bruno out of the club. I'm saying he's probably our best player, realistically. But if a huge bid came in, you know, close to 100 million, I think you've got to accept it because our finances at the moment are in a mess. Selling him for 100 million would probably mean us making 30-40 million pounds, which would help with financial fair play. And that's what I'm saying. If it was for like 20 million, obviously I wouldn't do it. Ginger says, I would sell Bruno for 100 million. You'd be an idiot not to. That would mean that Mason Mount would finally get some game time too. Yeah, I mean, they must have been thinking in the back of their head that Mason Mount would eventually take Bruno Fernandes's place because they play in the same position. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what happens because, you know, Mason Mount is still young. Whether you like Mason Mount or not, he's only just turned 25, Mason Mount, okay? Only just in the last couple of weeks. He's still very young, whereas Bruno Fernandes is 5 years older than him. So maybe Mason Mount is seen as our Bruno Fernandes replacement. Maybe they will look to sell him. I don't know. I don't think so personally, but we'll wait and see. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Anybody who has enjoyed the show, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Doesn't cost any money, really helps the channel. And if you are new, please do subscribe. I'll be back live tomorrow at... will I be live at 11 a.m. tomorrow? I might be live a little bit earlier tomorrow because I've got a really, really busy day outside of doing these videos. But I'll be live at some point tomorrow morning, probably like 10:30, 11. And then obviously I'll be live again in the evening. Have a good evening, everybody. Hope everyone has a good night. I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all later.